So, what we'll be doing tonight is I'm going to be sharing some insights with you from the teachings of the Buddha, but also from the contemplative Christian tradition, and then weaving those together, but bringing some time for silence into this experience. So, I'm going to be guiding you into reflection on these wisdom teachings from these two great traditions, but then also bringing us to points where I will be quiet and join with you in time for meditation and prayer reflection. You know, we're a diverse group, and people will come to these meditations from different faith perspectives or different practices. And so I really want to invite you that as we move into silence, is to engage with the silence according to your own practice. So if you practice centering prayer, it's time for centering prayer. If you practice Zen, it's time for Zen. If you just practice a kind of a mindfulness practice, whatever practice is useful and helpful for you. And one of the things that I would invite you, if you're new to silence, if you're new to meditation, is to take this time and to simply be present to your body and be present to your breath. But I'll say a little bit more about that as we get into this. So, but the theme for our meditation tonight, again, is intention and aspiration. So we begin with a question that Jesus asked a person named Bartimaeus. Bartimaeus was blind, and Jesus asked him when they encountered one another, he said, "What do you want?" It is a simple but profoundly important question. We are all creatures of desire, of longing, of yearning, of wanting. We all have basic, ordinary human desires. We want food and drink, clothing and shelter, family and friends, good health and prosperity. Spiritual traditions around the world, such as contemplative Christianity or Zen Buddhism, do not require us to eliminate our desires, which would be impossible anyway. But instead, the path of wisdom is the path of learning to be mindful and conscious with our desires, to work with them, to shape and form our innate capacity for desire and for want in ways that are healthy, life affirming, and deeply compassionate. So, when the Buddha developed his Noble Eightfold Path to describe the way to reduce our experience of suffering, one of those 8 essential steps is what he called right aspiration or right intention. You'll also see it translated as right thought. And so this seems to be the best place to begin this series of 24 meditations, steps that we will take together to grow in our individual and shared contemplative practice and spiritual life. So I'd like to share with you now just a few quotes from both the Christian tradition and the Buddhist tradition on this theme of right thought or right aspiration. We have the Buddha saying in one of his sutras, "Let your thoughts of boundless love pervade the whole world." Let your thoughts of boundless love pervade the whole world. And I would invite you to pair that with this teaching from Jesus we see in the Gospel of John. Love one another as I have loved you. So simple. So simple. And then also from the Buddha, we see, let everyone cultivate a boundless goodwill toward the entire world, uncramped, free from ill will or enmity. And we could pair that from this teaching from the Apostle Paul. Finally, beloved, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is pleasing, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, and if there's anything worthy of praise, think about these things. So we see that we have this kind of common teaching that with our innate capacity to think, we have the capacity to shape our awareness, to shape our consciousness. And in doing that, we subtly shape our lives and we subtly shape our worlds. So let's look at two more quotations that shine light on this concept. And this first one is actually anonymous, although I've seen it attributed to the Buddha. But I've also seen online that this has been tied to both Christian and Jewish sources. So I think it's a pretty universal quote. The thought manifests as the word. The word manifests as the deed. The deed develops into habit, and habit hardens into character. So watch the thought and its ways with care, and let it spring from love, born out of concern for all beings. For as the shadow follows the body, as we think, so we become. You can hear echoes of Paul there, can't you? And then a line from the Jewish scriptures, from what Christians call the Old Testament. As a person thinks in their heart, so they are. You may be familiar with this under older, more gendered translations. As a man thinketh, so he be. As a person thinks, so they are. So our thoughts are, and tied in with our thoughts, our wants, our desires, our aspirations, really do have significant impact in how we cultivate our spiritual life. Now, you may be thinking, well, wait a minute, I signed up for a meditation. Why are we having all these conversations about thought? So it's true that meditation practices from around the world often invite us to let go of our thoughts, to be non-attached, to let thoughts come and go. And truly, there is much wisdom in such an approach, for it keeps silence at the center of our contemplative practice. But as we reflect on this invitation to cultivate mindful purpose, healthy intention, and thoughts that support our spiritual growth, I believe we are called into a paradox that human awareness and mindfulness always encompasses our thoughts as much as our silence. In meditation, silence may be the object of our desire, but it is in our mindful intention that we orient ourselves toward that silence. So as Jesus spoke to Bartimaeus, we can now ask ourselves, what do I truly want? What do you truly want? What do we truly want? As we enter into the silence of meditation, let's hold these questions as sacred invitations to cultivate a spirit of conscious aspiration and mindful intention. In the Jewish tradition, there is a powerful promise found in Psalm 37:4. Take delight in Yahweh, who will then grant the desire of your heart. Let me repeat that. Take delight in the Divine One, and you will receive your heart's desire. You'll also see this translated as make Yahweh your joy, or rely upon the holy name for your enjoyment. And out of that joy, we can trust that our sacred desires, the desires of our heart, our intentions and aspirations, can be held with love and compassion, and are held with love and compassion in the heart of the divine mystery. So we do not need to apologize for having wants or needs or desires or hungers or aspirations or intentions. We do not need to be ashamed of being creatures with desire. This is who we are all created to be. All that is asked of us is that we are mindful and conscious of our desires, to truly know our heart's desire, and to pair those desires with our capacity to find joy in the love of the divine presence. The great Christian mystic Julian of Norwich proclaimed that the fullness of joy is to behold God in all. And likewise, Benedict declared that the divine presence is everywhere. The divine mystery who calls us to joy is closer to us than to our own breath. So as I invite us into our meditative silence, I want to invite you to consider that this word aspiration, which means intention, is related to respiration, which are both related to spirit, but also to breath. Inspiration, respiration, aspiration all call us back to the breath of meditation, the breath that calls us into silence. So I encourage you now to sit in a manner that's comfortable to your body and to take a moment and to simply be present to your breath. Notice your breath. Settle in to your breath. Allow your thoughts and your feelings and your daydreams and whatever monkey mind thoughts arise, allow them to come and to go. In meditation, we do not need to control our thoughts, and we do not need to resist them. Like boats on a river or birds in the sky, they come and they go. So simply notice, simply be present to the silence between every breath and between every heartbeat, and between every thought and every sensation. And when you notice a thought arising or a sensation or a daydream, something calling at you, I invite you to be like Thich Nhat Hanh and to see that as a bell calling you back to silence. We don't have to go anywhere to find silence. The silence is in our heart. So friends, we're just going to take, for now, we're just going to take 2 minutes. We'll have more silence later, but for now, 2 minutes. And I invite you to rest in your breath in the silence. So, as I share a few more thoughts to guide our meditation time, I invite you to continue to rest in your breath and to continue to allow the, the thoughts and feelings and distracting images or ideas that come along within you to let them come and let them go. Again, like boats on a river or like birds in the sky. But as we reflect on intention or on desire, let's begin at the beginning. And to be human is to have desires. We all have them. And most of our desires are very mundane, very down to earth. We want financial security. We want professional success. We want the good approval of others. It's okay to want earthly things. But the Buddha reminds us that such desires sooner or later lead to suffering. If you get the dream car, then what a disaster it is the first time it gets a scratch. You make all the money you ever wanted, and then you have to protect it somehow. Sooner or later, all of our earthly desires lead us to suffering. Either those desires are left unmet, or they are met temporarily and then frustrated, or something else gets in our way. And sooner or later, we grow old, we grow tired, frail, we are abandoned or betrayed, sometimes by people we trusted. Our loved ones pass away. It is okay to have ordinary desires, but they will not in and of themselves set us free. This is why the contemplative tradition of every great religion and philosophy calls us to a deeper aspiration, a more mindful intention, and the desires that are truly embedded in the deepest, most grounded places of our hearts. These are the longings that will lead us on the path of freedom, the path to joy, and the path to love. So the Buddha teaches us that we have three keys to unlock a truly wise and mindful heart. First, to renounce the obstacles that keep us from our freedom. Second, the cultivation of goodwill towards all beings. And then finally, the cultivation of a spirit of non-harm or non-violence, to letting go of aggression and hostility. And we can compare these teachings to Jesus's teachings. Or doesn't Jesus call us to renounce sin, to renounce choices that betray love, and to cultivate mercy and forgiveness and kindness, and to judge no one and to love everyone? So as we continue to rest in the silence, I invite you to reflect on your heart's deepest desire, to reflect on your aspiration for love, for joy, for peace, to consider your own path of letting go what doesn't give life, and to foster mercy and compassion and peace for all. And so I'm going to invite us now into a longer period of silence. We'll take 7 minutes. And in these 7 minutes, I invite you to truly pay attention to the quietest whispers in your heart. Once again, let them come and let them go. You don't need to grasp. I invite you to hold lightly and to be present to your breath, but to allow your heart to be and allow yourself to know and to befriend and to accept the stirrings deep within you, your heart's deepest and truest desire. So I invite you now to be present to your breath and present to the silence. With each breath, we are brought back into the silence. Back into that place where the still small voice of the divine whispers in our heart. My friends, your heart's desire is yours alone. It is not mine or anyone else's. There is no one right or correct way for a heart to express its longing, its aspiration, or its intention. What makes your desire truly your heart's desire is that it is authentic and it is consistent with who you are most truly are. And it has been said that we are all created in the image and likeness of God, and God is love. So you are at heart the image and likeness of divine love. And so our intentions, our aspirations, our desires at the heart level resonate with that divine love. And as we know our heart's desire, we are able to think on these things. And as we think, so shall we act. And as we act, so shall our character be formed. As we think, so shall we be. And may we all cultivate thoughts of love and peace, mercy and forgiveness, nonviolence, goodwill, and compassion. To enjoy divine love is to receive the desire of your heart. Whatever unique shape and form your desire, your intention, your aspiration may take, the foundation of all of our heart's desire is union with divine love and the fullness of joy that comes from knowing who we truly are. So I'd like to invite you into one more period of silence. And in this silence, I invite you to reflect on your intentions and your aspirations, your desire. And it's okay if you're reflecting on that desire for that new car, but I invite you to go deeper, to go to your heart, and to reflect on how you, like every one of us, is an embodiment of the image and likeness of love. And I invite you to reflect on what that means as we seek to more truly know who we are. As we seek to more truly know our embodiment of compassion and of forgiveness and of mercy. Once again, my friends, I invite you into the silence. We'll take about 3 minutes. So, in his Sermon on the Mount, Jesus invites us to reflect on what he called the Beatitudes, his teachings about true happiness and blessedness. In a similar way, the Buddha's teachings of the Noble Eightfold Path offer us practical insights into how we can alleviate or possibly even eliminate suffering from our lives, and to support one another in the alleviation of suffering in all of our lives. And then meanwhile, our Celtic ancestors, like indigenous peoples from all over the world, understood that a truly good and happy and blessed life is never divorced from nature or the body, but is fully embodied, fully present, and fully aligned not only with the rhythm of the breath, but with the rhythm of the seasons and the rhythms of nature. So, the invitation now, as we continue our journey of meditation, will be to draw on each of these teachings and to weave them together, to explore and manifest the wisdom we all carry deep within us. Knowing our intention and our aspirations is the first step. It is an important first step on this journey through meditation into wisdom. And so, as we bring our meditation to a close, I'm going to invite us to take just one final pause, just a few breaths, and to continue just to kind of to put a period at the end of the sentence, to just continue this process of being present to our breathing, present to our bodily rhythms. And again, to meet this silence according to the practice that you bring tonight. Just take with me just 3 or 4 nice, deep, relaxing breaths. And so we'll finish with words from Julian of Norwich. O divine love, of your goodness give us yourself, for you are enough for us. Amen.